Peace and welcome to the Temple of Hip Hop. I am KRS-ONE. Of course, you guys always roll up on me just when I'm getting started. I just finished a bowl of lentil soup. Today is a fast day, y'all. So we're doing the lentil soup thing. We're abnegating from some of our pleasures, and we're going to do this in this way today. Now, I just got started here, so I got to organize myself. You can see I'm in just in a room in this sense. Welcome to the Temple of Hip Hop. But I wanted to get closer to the camera, and it seems like I'm going to have to do this from here because I have a piece to read, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Then I'm going to leave it and just point here. So forgive me for my distance in this sense. I'm usually closer to the screen, but I have this piece that I'm going to read because what we're doing as we stay. Well, first of all, let me start this. Peace to you, your family, well-being to you, your family, your friends, those that surround you. Peace and prosperity. This is the Temple of Hip Hop. I am KRS-ONE. What we do here is we delve into the spiritual, philosophical, cultural aspects of hip hop, not so much the entertainment, commercial aspects of hip hop. We focus more on the deeper aspects of hip hop as culture. And when you dig into any subject in terms of its culture, its community, this kind of thing, you're dealing with the essence of it. You're dealing with the being, the cause of the subject. And so this is why we approach hip hop philosophically. This is not necessarily religion, and it's not necessarily science. It's philosophy, which is the mother of them both. And I say not necessarily religion, because you can approach hip hop as religion. Absolutely, I do. But we don't put that actually on everybody. Everybody ain't ready for that. Those of us that are ready for that, though, we've joined the Temple of Hip Hop. And we have what is called the Gospel of Hip Hop that not only lays out our future, but also gives us a character, a conduct, a code of operation that we can judge ourselves by and judge each other by. That's the reason we wrote down the 18 performances, divine performances, the 18 performances of divinity that matter to hip hop. So let me read this piece to you real quick. I'm going to read this into the record. We are talking about performing God today. And let me just get into it because as stated last week, for the next 18 weeks, we are going to be reviewing our divine performance or our divine performances as laid out in our Gospel of Hip Hop. As you know, here at the Temple of Hip Hop, we document and record our teachings for future generations to reflect upon and be inspired by. These teachings are for those that are truly spiritually minded. Much of what is being taught here is not even for this time. It is for my children's children. That is when hip hop will become what we are visualizing it to be today. And realize that, this is not, blessed. You're truly blessed and enlightened if you can get this now while I'm delivering it. But we know that many people will not understand what it is that I'm putting forward here. The future will, because the future's always smarter. The future's always got more information, got more evidence. But the people in the present that you're talking to are still in the ignorance. And I say that respectfully. They just don't know. The future's going to know more than us. But those of us that know today are blessed and privileged, and we have to respond to that blessing and that privilege today. That's what I'm doing right now. We are conscious as to who and what we are in our time. So our actions are deliberate. If we don't do this cultural development work today, there will be no hip hop culture or history or legacy or heritage or tradition or birthright or anything for our posterity to really rely upon for their survival and continued growth tomorrow. Those that can see what I am saying and are serious about protecting original hip hop, it is we that form the temple of hip hop. Obviously, with a name like the Temple of Hip Hop, we are indeed interested in the spiritual, the philosophical, and cultural natures of hip hop. We want to know what is real regarding hip hop in the spiritual realm and how we may attune ourselves to the harmony of such a realm. You got that? This is and this is why I'm saying this, because these are the distinctions between a hip hop spiritual path and everything else that's going on. Not that we even want to separate ourselves. No, we ain't preaching no elitism. None of that. But we know there ain't nobody talking to us. We know that. We know spiritually that nobody's really coming with a word that we really need to hear. Nobody's really coming like that. Get my hair together. Sorry, y'all. But we know this. So it's like we have to go on a mission for ourselves to realize what the spiritual realm is really all about and how to attune ourselves actually to it. As you know, this is an authentically hip hop ministry. First distinction, this is a hip hop ministry. This is something new. So there is no need to compare or combine our teachings regarding hip hop or a spiritual path with anybody else's. These teachings are for those that live hip hop for real. Now, of course, anyone that is seriously engaged in real spiritual awareness can be inspired by these teachings. Nothing that I'm saying here is new. And you can find the ultimate point of these views in a variety of spiritual circles. However, the difference between an authentic hip-hop spiritual teaching and mostly every other spiritual teaching known to us today is that first, according to our observable history, see, this is where we get into philosophy now, okay? According to our observable history, a history that you can see, backed up by recordings that you can hear and see, and interviews of all sorts, hip-hop spiritual understanding does not ignore the effects of colonialism, war, slavery, and all the others upon the formation of and evolution of religion, philosophy, and history. Let me hit you with that one more time because I want to make an emphasis here. These are the distinctions. The difference between an authentic hip-hop spiritual teaching and mostly every other spiritual teaching known to us today is that first, according to our observable history, backed up by recordings and interviews of all sorts, hip-hop spiritual understanding does not ignore the effects of colonialism, war, and slavery upon the formation and evolution of religion, philosophy, science, and history. This is the difference. From a hip-hop point of view, most of today's spiritual teachings ignore colonial crimes against indigenous communities. They praise their religion or spiritual beliefs void of any justice for the victims of their ancestors. Of course, this is not a criticism of anyone's religious beliefs or anyone's ancestors. This is simply a distinction. So get this right. We're not criticizing nobody else. We're talking about ourselves. This is a distinction. I am pointing out one of the major differences between hip-hop's spiritual understanding and everyone else's spiritual understanding or spiritual practice that seems to be good with some people oppressed and others oppressing them. It is a known fact that many of the old mosques, as well as the old cathedrals of Europe and the Americas, are built right on top of ancient indigenous holy grounds and desecrated indigenous temples. Look at this. A lot, and again, I have to speak the truth. And whenever you speak the truth, you have to say constantly, no disrespect. We are speaking non-critically. We are coming in love and in compassion. We want to make things better. But to make things better, we have to speak the truth. You can't make things better on lies. You have to make things better on truth. And the truth of the matter is that many of the old mosques, synagogues, the cathedrals of Europe and of the Americas were built on top of murder, theft, kidnapping, rape. Come on now. We know this. It was a variety of mosques, actually, built from the actual bricks of architecture stolen from indigenous temples, sacred structures. This is what we are looking at right now. No one knows the history, so we just go ahead and say, oh, well, these people are this or these people are that, and no problem. In your world, I guess you are holy. In your world, according to your opinion of yourself, you see yourself as holy. But to the people that you killed to build your church, there's no holiness for you in their eyes. Now look at this. Maybe in God's eye, you are still holy, killing people, raping people, slaving people, oppressing people. Maybe that's what your God is about, and so be it. I say respect to that. And look at this, respect to that. Your God is about slavery, rape, war, invasion, robbery. If that's what your God is about, respect to that. But that's not what hip-hop's God is about. And hip-hop's God cannot be about that, because we are the victims of these crimes. And they are crimes, you know. Kidnapping children, rape, murder, robbery. These are crimes all across the world, across ages. These are crimes. So if you build your cathedral on top of the site that used to be a real temple, it used to be a real temple situated right there, and here comes the invader, the foreigner, burns down the original temple, burns it down, kills the people inside. I'm talking about the monks, the priests, the ones who achieved enlightenment, the ones who knew what God, the universe, and nature really was. They killed them or exiled them, ran them off, burnt down and destroyed their temple, their building, and then built their building on top in the same space. Now, we know this. That's why I'm pointing it out. I'm not criticizing. I'm pointing out a historical fact. So if this is a historic fact and historical fact, how can we hip-hoppers see God there? It's a simple question. And again, it's a question that points to your character, because there is no right or wrong answer here. If your God is about killing, then there it is. If your God is about enslavement, then there it is. But to those who are being killed and those who are enslaved and those who are being robbed, that's not our God. We pray to our God to alleviate us from this robbery, this rape, this murder. We can't seem to move forward. Our development is arrested because of this. Hip-hop does not ignore this. We don't disrespectfully or unjustly criticize our ancestors and our parents or yours. Instead, we seek to do better than them. We seek to correct their past, meaning our ancestors' parents. We seek to correct their past immaturities with our present maturity. We seek to correct past ignorance with present knowledge. The idea is to make things better. The Muslim practicing hip hop does not ignore this. The Christian practicing hip hop does not ignore this. The Jew practicing hip hop does not ignore this. The Buddhist, Hindu, Shinto, come on now, Wiccan, they don't ignore this. They don't ignore Yoruba, Vodou. Any of y'all, or any of us practicing hip hop, we can't ignore this simple truth. Simple truth. We can't ignore this. Now, others can ignore it. Those that feel, listen to this, those that feel the spirit of hip hop and align with its culture cannot ignore the real plight of oppressed people. And everyone knows this about hip hop. Our understanding of spirituality includes justice. For us, spirituality is not just about peace and love. It's also about real knowledge and exact justice. Here, spirituality is not simply prayer and meditation. It is the study of truth, backed up with a response to such truth through action. Again, hip hop does not ignore the oppressed. We are counted amongst them. As the Hip Hoptionary explains in its definition of hip hop, yes, the Hip Hoptionary by Alonzo Westbrook explains in its definition of hip hop, quote, hip hop, the artistic response to oppression, end quote. For us, colonialism is evil and wrong. For others, colonialism is holy and right. This is what separates hip hop's spiritual path from what is being offered today. Some can rationalize the violent capture of human beings for enslavement while believing themselves to be devout Christians or devout Muslims or devout Jews and so on. For those that practice hip hop, however, this is contrary to our understanding of God and spiritual awareness. We are not criticizing, we are making a distinction. Believing that you can attain any kind of spiritual awareness while still holding stolen people on stolen land with stolen goods, respectfully, preaching from a stolen religion, is beyond the spiritual understanding of our hip hop community. We don't understand that. Since the publishing of my song, Why Is That?, all kinds of real evidence has now emerged regarding the culture and ethnicity of Jesus the Christ and his community. It is now unanimously agreed upon, look at this, unanimously agreed upon amongst a variety of reputable historians, archaeologists, biologists, etc., that Jesus of Nazareth could not have been a white man with blonde hair and blue eyes living in a region where the temperatures can reach up to 130 degrees. Still, in churches everywhere, we continue to see the depiction of a blue-eyed, blonde-haired man called Jesus, even though it is said that Yeshua was his name, was his original name. And again, but not only is Yeshua Jesus' original name, or I can't even say original name, what is this term Jesus? If the original person that this Jesus term is referring to is called Yeshua, and Yeshua is actually Joshua. But you can't even say Joshua because there's no J's in Hebrew. So what is a Jesus? What is a J-E-S-U-S? This term, Jesus, is not historically based. The etymology of this term, it doesn't lead to the Hebrew people that this term is speaking about, or the Aramaic speaking people that this term is referring to. There's no J's in these cultures, no J in these cultures. It's G. Even in Latin, the G is pronounced hard as G, not J. There's no J in Latin. It's G. The G is always pronounced hard. That's why when you look at the Bible, which comes out of Latin, especially the New Testament, Greek and Latin, you can't say that the word Niger is Niger. There's no such thing as Niger in Latin. The word is nigger. Niger, nigger. That's a Latin word pronounced like that. There's no two G's in nigger. It's Niger, nigger. And you could find the nigger, the real nigger, is actually at Acts 13 of your Bible, where the church is actually beginning at Acts 13. A leader of the church, not a leader, the leader of the church, who is called Simeon, is the nigger. Go read your Bible, Acts 13, and you'll see that the first place that the church is being announced, it's being announced by niggas. But you don't want to say that. You can, oh man, I ain't saying that word. No, I can't. Jesus was a nigga? Nah, man, come on. But it's right there in your Bible. So you're going to see the fact right there. But colonial culture is going to deny you that. So look at what's happening to you. Look what's happening to your mind. The facts are in front of you, but you can't respond to them. That's called slavery. You may think you rich. You may think you popular. You may think you stable with a good job. No, you're not. You're still a slave if you can't respond to the truth. That's what slaves can't do. Slave know where the freedom is, can't go. Slave know she's supposed to be reading, can't read. Slave know they supposed to have a better life than what they live in, but can't get to it. Why? Because you're a slave. You're being forced into the position you're in through violence and terrorism. And most people, they don't approach their spirituality real. That's why nobody real. That's why we got all these churches on the corner, and everybody's more evil than you ever could think. I mean, and take a look at it. Palestine and Israel fighting. You know, most of the Palestinians are Christians. Okay, Christians. The rest Muslim. Now here's the Jews. And here we are again. Now, no criticism, okay? No critique on this. Just truth and logic. All these people fighting these wars all believe in God. What God do they believe in? You got to act. During these times, you have got to ask these questions, or you ain't serious about your spirituality. You fronting on yourself. If you can't look at a situation, judge it correctly, and then make a move based on your judgment, or not move based on your judgment. But if you can't judge correctly, if you don't know what's right from wrong, if you don't know true from fake, if you don't know cause from effect, you lost. And most people out here are just that, lost. This is why we exist, the temple of hip hop. We're not going to sit back and allow our people to be lost. Now, if you don't want to hear this, or you don't want to come to the temple, or you don't want to hear KRS-ONE, that's fine. That's on you. But in truth and in fact, hip-hop is discussing God. Hip-hop is discussing spirituality. Hip-hop is looking deeper into philosophy and theology and mythology and folklore and legend. Hip-hop is looking at that. We're not just on TV shaking our asses, smoking weed, or driving fancy cars. That's not us. That's not the whole of us. The whole of us is what I'm doing right here. This is part of us too. This search for truth. this confirmation of God within. That's part of us too. But if you let your culture be ruled by commercial interests, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a depiction of your culture that has nothing to do with divinity, righteousness, godliness, none of it, principles, none of it, because this is what they're trying to make you into. They're trying to make you and your children slaves that can't make moves, can't get out of their situation, see the truth, but can't react to it. These are slaves. You ain't no slave. You're a free human being. You are intelligence leaping up, consciousness on the move. Look at this. So seriously, what kind of mind game is being played here? Who is this figure and Jesus? Who is this figure and why is it still being used as the image of Yeshua when we know otherwise? And I'm saying this, again, I'm not criticizing Christianity at all. I'm criticizing hip hop and how we think. Okay, I'm investigating what we doing with our mind. And if you know that certain things don't line up, other stuff ain't been true, this one's a liar, that one's a thief, if you know this, why are you still associated with that thing? And if you're still associated with it, why complain? Why protest? Why say Black Lives Matter and a white Jesus is on your wall? Why say women matter and you sit down and go, our Father who art in heaven? If you know the truth, why are you not responding to it? And this is the discussion we're having today. I'm reading you this first piece before we get into our gospel. I'm reading you this first piece so that you can understand the difference between a hip-hop spiritual path and everything else out there. And I mean everything. Yoruba, Vodou, Christianity, all of it. None of y'all talking to us. None of y'all. It's like, I mean, look at this. Look at this. Is this what we call the pursuit of truth? And look at, please maintain your intellectual maturity here. This is philosophy. We're going deep. No disrespect to anyone or their faith. We are simply speaking rationally and truthfully. And the point here is to make some real distinctions between hip-hop's common understanding of spirituality and truth versus all others. The point here being that hip-hop spirituality does not ignore the effects of colonialism, racism, sexism, classism, war, slavery, and all the rest upon religion, science, and philosophy and history. They were and still are, these subjects, heavily influenced by the views of racists, sexists, imperialists, and colonists. There's no way around it. There's no way around that. And now secondly, okay, so we dealt with that. Let's go secondly. The difference between an authentic hip-hop spiritual teaching and mostly every other spiritual teaching known to us today begins with the fact that most of the spiritual teachings that have survived over the years simply do not speak to us. And many of the preachers, philosophers, sages, and so on simply do not relate to us or us to them. And look at this without emotionalizing over it, respectfully. It is not that today's preachers and or philosophers don't have a word, even a powerful word, for the ghettos of today, for the hood of today. It is more the fact that the language in which they speak, the hood don't speak that. The clothes that they wear, the hood don't wear that. The places that these ministers and priests and philosophers and imams and rabbis and where they hang out, the hood don't hang there. And this is the problem. Where's the imam on the street Where's the rabbi on the corner? Where's the minister, the pastor in the crack house, in the trap? Why we can't see a Christian minister singing Minaj's record, "I bees in the trap, bees in the trap, with Jesus in the trap, and Buddha in the trap, and Krishna in the trap. We all in the trap." What if Jesus was in the spot? I mean, this is when you know you really do it. See, we really do the work of God, so we know what it is. When you do the work of God, you get put in places you don't want to be. So it's like, are you following God? Or are you forcing God to follow you? Are you really obedient to Allah? Or are you forcing Allah to be obedient to you? This is the question. Are you following and learning and being led and guided and molded into a divine being? Which means you're going to have to give up some old stuff. You're going to have to adopt some new stuff. You got to be constantly willing to grow if you're walking with God. There's no judgment because all are God's children, are we not? God, as we see it, is omnipotent, omnipresent, everywhere. So we outside of God. We outside of God, right? Let me read on. It doesn't matter who you are. Look at this. It doesn't matter who you are, what you preach, and where you may preach it. None. Do you hear the word none? Okay. None. None of today's religions or philosophies, as well as ministers and philosophers, are speaking to the hood, to the ghetto, to urban areas, to my neighborhood, to 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. I'm the only minister there. The Temple of Hip Hop is the only spiritual thought there in the Bronx. There, and this is no bullshit. Those other ministries that are there, all their doors are closed to the people of the Bronx. You think I'm lying? Go look for yourself. Go right now and look for yourself. If you're in France, fly out here tonight and go look for yourself. I'm not dissing nobody, but if I can't speak the truth about what's going on with my community, then we gonna stay blind, lost, whatever, while these people rob us of our birthright. See, that's the other part to this. Look, none of today's religions or philosophies, as well as ministers and philosophers, are speaking to the hood, speaking to the ghetto. Imagine ghetto is a Jewish term. Okay, the ghetto. That's where the Jews were from. That's what they called the Jewish section, ghetto. That's where we get the word from. Where's the rabbi then? Jews have much to teach us hip hop. Where are you? Why your door is shut to us? I guess Judaism is only for Jews. I guess Christianity is only for Christians. Islam is only for Muslims. Buddhism only for the Buddhists. Hinduism, and all your doors are shut to us. We as we are was never accepted by your religion or your culture. Us as we are. We always have to come and change who we are to join your version of what God is and what reality is. How can that be right? How can that be spiritual? How can that even be true? But this is how we're being dealt with. And nobody want to talk about it because nobody want to get canceled. Nobody want to seem like they're getting disrespected or being disrespectful. Everybody being polite and politically correct and all of this type of shit. I don't understand that when our people are dying in the streets for lack of knowledge. Our people are lost, don't know who they are, why they are, getting manipulated by corporate America, And we gonna sit here with spiritual knowledge. We are enjoying spiritual enlightenment, bliss, miracle come every day for us. And we gonna sit here, eat well, drink well, smoke well, wear well, drive well, live well, and just outside our door, there's a homeless person who has nothing. We look at them and we say, well, you should have did what you're supposed to do. You should have, you could have, da-da-da. No God for them, right? Like God don't see them, right? God, they're outside of God. Like I don't even know how to rationalize that, but I'm pointing out the example and as to why we have a hip hop ministry, not a Christian ministry, not a Jewish ministry, not a Muslim ministry, not any of that. Hip hop has a ministry because nobody talking to us, nobody talking to the hood, nobody talking to the ghetto, nobody talking to hip hop. So if you ain't gonna talk to hip hop, God is. And God talking to us. And talking to us not with no, I heard a voice in my head. No. God speaks through life experiences. God is life. So the only way God gonna speak is through life. And when we look at our life, we see God all in it. Beginning with our name, hip hop. An ancient name too, by the way. Returning to us after many years of being separated from our hip hop. We now come into consciousness. And others are not going to tell us this. They're not going to tell you when God has blessed you. They're not going to tell you when you're the favored one. They're not going to tell you when you've defeated the plans they had and didn't tell you. They didn't tell you they were scheming against you and you defeated them anyway. So they just sitting quiet. They just sit there quiet like, damn, these motherfuckers didn't even know. They didn't even know that we was trying to kill them and they killed us. The plans we put on them came to our children. The crack they sold, the crack we sold to them came to our children as fentanyl. You're not hearing me. You don't want to hear this part of it. Okay, you don't want to hear this part of it. So I'm not going to give it to you. That's reserved for the temple. Come to the temple and we'll talk truth. But here in this public forum here, we're going to talk truth, but with a small t. Facts with a small f. Evidence with a small e. Because most people can't take it. There's people listening to me right now that can't take it. We about to lose members right now. Okay? Because you can't take it. You can't handle the truth. And what's the truth? How can colonialism be right? How can invasion, robbery, murder, rape, how can that be right? And if it's right for you, so be it. We respect your view. But it ain't right for us. We are not supposed to be robbing anybody, or much less ourselves, murdering anybody, lying to anybody. Come on now, we ain't supposed to be doing that. How are we supposed to survive as a nation? How are we supposed to come together as a community if we're all going to compete with each other to the point of envy, jealousy, and eventually robbery and murder? We're not going to get nowhere. So somebody got to come up, step up with the truth in their mouth. And say, yo, this is what it is, yo. This is what it is. You either hear it or you don't. But whether you hear this word or not, I heard the word. And I'm responding to it. So hip hop is guaranteed to be what it is intended to be. Because every day we win. Every day we win for hip hop. Every day. Every day. Every hour. We win for hip hop. And in this area, we're talking God. We're talking God. We're talking spirituality. None of today's religions or philosophies, is what I'm going to read again, philosophies are speaking to the hood. Very, very, very few ministers, I don't even know who they are, ministers, priests, philosophers, etc., actually have a word for the real hoods of this world, the real ghettos of the world, the refugee camps of the world. What's the word to Ukrainian hip hoppers? What's the word? What's the word to Russian hip hoppers? What's the word? You see, if you don't understand who you are, you can't lead, you can't help. We understand who we are. We know that there's hip hop in Palestine and in Israel. We know that there's hip hop amongst the Native Americans and amongst the white folk that took their land. We know that there's hip hop everywhere. So if there's hip hop everywhere, we have an opportunity to correct the wrongs of our parents. Not judge them, criticize them, but recognize their immaturities, recognize their ignorance, and then do better than them. This is hip hop spirituality. We're not criticizing, we're not disrespecting. But if we can't point out the fact that your father killed my father and you raped my mother, then what are we, you just gonna sit on that lie even in your own life? Look at it. You're gonna bring that karma down on your children because you don't want to correct it in your own life? Come on. Some black folk were bred to be slaves. Do you hear me? Genetically bred for slavery, like an animal, like a horse, like a plant, grafted to be a white slave, to be a black slave for white people. You see these black people walking around still today. No disrespect, but you a slave. You believe more in a white system than your own indigenous civilization, which they stole. You believe more in the copy than the original. You want artificial intelligence, black man, black woman. You want artificial intelligence, and you are the creator of the human mind. The first human to step up and say, I am aware that I am human, was an African. We all know that. The concept of the mind, the actual concept of mind, is an African idea. But nobody wants to recognize that. Even black people. You want to sit in front of a white Jesus, then say Black Lives Matter. I don't understand that. Jesus was black or dark skin. And I don't even say black sociopolitically, because there's Rome oppressing him. I can see if Jesus came out of the Roman Empire, like Caesar, he come out of the Roman Empire. He said, I'm God here, and I am divine. Caesar, Augusta, whoever it is. I'm a divine. All the Caesars. I am divine. He says it right there and puts that divinity on you with a sword, and I'll kill you if you say something otherwise. So that's his divinity. That's called the Holy Roman Church. I'll kill you if you don't accept my God. That's how they got there. We all know this. Is that God, though? That's what you got to ask. Is that truly the concept of God? Get with me or I kill you. Get with me or I take your property. Get with me or I kidnap your children. How is that God? But some people rationalize that, though. Keep it real with me. Some people rationalize that. And as philosophers, we have to be willing to even go there and say, listen, without judgment, let us sit in your seat for a minute and see the world the way you do. Let's sit here on the ship with Christopher Columbus and them and see the world the way in which you do. And you can gain much knowledge out of that. You can gain much, a clearer picture even as to what Christopher Columbus and his crew was dealing with. if you're willing to put the emotion aside and just deal with the truth. We can all heal if we just get to the truth. We can all be free of past baggage if we just deal with the truth. There's no judgment here because we are the children of whatever happened before. So there's no judgment. It's you do better. Do better than your parents. That's the progression of life. That's how life moves forward. Even nature takes the best of what it thinks. Keep that in mind. Nature takes the best of what it thinks is of your parents. The best of your father and the best of your mother that's going to help to survive, because that's what nature's about. You surviving. So whatever nature believes is going to help you to survive, it takes it from your father, takes it from your mother, makes you. So we're not here to judge or criticize because we are those that we're criticizing. We come from them. So instead of continuing slavery in your own genetics, why don't you fix that within yourself? Stop being a coward. Stop being a coon, shucking and jiving and foot shuffling and tap dancing for corporate because you got no mind of your own. You can't do nothing with your own hands. So somebody got to tell you, do this with your hands and I'll pay you. So here you go, slavery. Let me just do what I'm told so I can get this check. So I can be doing that and then just do what I told. 20, 30 years of your life gone. You sitting in one place. Person like me done traveled the whole world, came back, did it again, came back, did the country, the whole of America, came back, all in the time. You sat in one spot, afraid to be yourself, afraid to seize your own visions. Because that's what it is, fear. That's all it is. That's what it is, fear. You're afraid to be you. And the reason you're afraid to be you is because you lack God knowledge. Once you have knowledge of yourself, which is divine, then you're not afraid to be you. I don't give a fuck what people think about me. Y'all know that already, right? So we clear, right? Okay. If I'm speaking truth, I could care less. Matter of fact, if you keep talking, okay. we gonna go to another place because that's hip hop too. Our spirituality doesn't take disrespect lightly. No, you will lay you on your back over here. We will lay you down over here. This is hip hop. This is not Christianity. This is not Judaism. This is not Islam. This is not any of that. This is hip hop. And we have all the right to spiritualize our cultural character. We don't need to line ourselves up with somebody else, line ourselves up, make sure we righteous according to their standards. Fuck that. These people already proved themselves to be liars, deceivers, rapists, murderers. We're in a war today. See, this is the part about truth, okay? You can turn the TV right now. And there's people holding a Quran, holding a Bible, holding a Torah, talking about, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to blow you up, I'm going to blow it, I'm going to blah, 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 blah. Now, where's hip hop in that? We're supposed to slavishly go along with this kind of thinking, with this kind of character. This is what's going to help us, right? In fact, more war is going to help the Palestinian cause. I don't see it. I don't see how that helps. I don't see how blowing up civilians help God's cause. I don't get it. So there's a couple of million people like me that don't get it either. I suggest we unite around this thing called the Temple of Hip Hop. Because here we're not bullshitting with God. We don't fake that. We might be faking some other areas in our lives. We might be lying over here, hip hop in our lives over here, but not with God. Not with God. We are all of us in hip hop, even those who are Christian, Muslim, may not be of the same faith or may not be have faith at all. But you know, at the center of hip hop, there is God. We, as a community, we believe God. We call upon God. We are educated by God. Even when they told us we was devils and couldn't and denied us to read, we said, fuck you. We are God and you the devil. And I don't need to read. I need to look within my heart. How can a person who can't read know the Bible? On two levels, okay? On two levels. One, you can't read, but somehow your character, you never read the Bible, but your character matches exactly the Bible, or the New Testament, I should say. The character of Jesus the Christ. You didn't read about Jesus. You didn't get to the Bible. You was denied to be able to read, but you still acted like Christ. You still lived the life of Christ. So look at this. If you're still, because look, the slave, the so-called slave, lived the exact life that's prescribed in the Bible. Turn the other cheek. God will get me out of this. There's a Roman oppressor. We're all slaves. Come on. With all due respect, I'll give you an example. There was an old preacher, a white man, called Oral Roberts. What was his name? Oral Roberts. This man was brilliant, okay? Brilliant teacher, white man. Brilliant teacher of the Christian faith, Oral Roberts. Now, as brilliant as Oral Roberts was on the Christian faith, as brilliant as he was, he's still a colonist. He's still a colonist. He's one of the biggest. And me, and as I say it with respect, because I'm speaking of somebody who I respect. I'm speaking of someone who even taught me. In my early days, you looking around searching for what's real, and somebody give you a good word to make you go forward. Well, that was Oral Roberts. You should look him up. People like Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer. There's others. I mean, really, the whole Hay House, even. This is a philosophical organization. Louise Hay, woman, white woman, started this whole spiritual organization. Absolutely excellent. Absolutely brilliant. The concept, the whole idea. Of course, you know, there is the gossip and they got their problems. You know, they deal with them. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the intent of what they wanted to do. And they wanted to bring that real spirituality to the world. There's other people like Mary Scoville Shin, like Elizabeth Clare Prophet, like Esther and Jerry Hicks, the Abraham studies. These are white people. At least the last time I saw them, they were white. Okay, they're not colonists. They're not any of this. But their culture limits them from achieving the divinity that they even speak about, because they're still wedded to the culture. You may talk Christ all day. You may talk this all day, but you're not going to give the Native Americans back their land. Boom. So you still a colonist. You can talk God all day. You can come with Christ consciousness. You can come with that all day. It's only words, because your actual actions and your character will not reparate African Americans. You can't see in your spirituality why you need to be paying for slavery, period. Especially the Christian church, especially Christianity. Need to be paying, needs to, like African Americans are asking the United States government for reparations. And that might be slightly wrong, because the United States government really didn't really do much to African Americans. Like, really? Sure, you pass laws and this, that, and the other. Nah, that's not really doing it. It's the people that are in the government. They're the ones taking the U.S. government and making it this to your people, making it like this. The idea of saying, oh, the U.S. is whack, United States of America's whack, or America's whack, that's immature. It's right to say, because those that are representing America are the ones who are making you feel that way. But it's immature. Once you get more knowledge, you realize that there is a United States, and it has laws, it has principles, it has speeches, it has pictures, it has everything that we dream of the United States being. Nobody followed it. Nobody followed it. So you can't say the nation's fucked up. You can't say that. You got to say these people, they're the ones that's messing up the nation. Now, once you realize that, you say, well, damn, wait a minute. You mean to tell me we live in a nation that promotes freedom, justice, and equality for all of its citizens? We live in a nation where, first of all, this is one, I'm going to say one of the richest nations. This is the richest nation on the planet. We still have homelessness on our streets to epidemic proportion. Do you hear me? To epidemic proportions. People ain't got no money in the richest country in the world. So what does that mean? It means that America's not the problem. Americans are the problem. And so hip hop takes a look at this and says, now I see what Dr. King was talking about. Now I see what W.E.B. Du Bois was talking about. Now I see what Frederick Douglass was talking about. Now I understand. They saw America for what it really was. And they saw that these white folk, these black folk, these Latino folk over here are fucking the country up with their own selfish interests. So our leaders and others fought for the true America, fought for the true United States. But it's a struggle. Why? Because you got these other folk over here that seem not to care about life, seem not to care about justice. And they kneel before their God without justice, without truth, without right. And they play games with their own versions of spirituality. You play your own game. But that ain't hip hop's game. And we don't need to play that game. There's no reason for us to play some fake game with God and our ancestors and true spiritual knowledge and knowledge of one's divine self. We don't need to play games with that. We can go right to it. We can go right to it. And we're there now. We're there now. Accept it. Accept it. You would rather accept a slave master than your own spirituality? A slave master's spirituality over your own. That's a slave, isn't it? A slave is afraid to leave the plantation because of fear of the unknown. The slave can't move. The slave is paralyzed by fear. And what is the fear caused by? Ignorance, a lack of knowledge, and then lies being told to you, like actual lies. Yo, if you go beyond that measure, there's wolves and lions and they will eat you. You grow up with that from 2 years old. Now you 18, 21, 25, 30. You believe in the back of your mind, if I ever leave, I don't know if there's a wolf there. I don't know, but I'm too scared to find out. They just put some bullshit in your head, and now you can't even move. Well, this is where hip hop comes. And this is why this spiritual thought is different from other spiritual thoughts. Again, no disrespect to anybody. But I'm never going to tell my children you should stay in school. That's never going to happen. Okay, now others, you don't see no other way for your child. So you send your child to public school. You don't see no other way for yourself or for your child, so you go to college. Hip hop, We didn't do it that way. We didn't go to college. The ones who are true hip hop, we didn't go to college. We didn't. The ones who are true hip hop, dudes like me and Herc and Bam and Flash and everybody crazy. None of us most of us didn't even get to high school. Okay, dropped out of high school, maybe got through high school, maybe. Like Flash, Flash got through high school and others got through. But no, we here we are. We didn't go to no college. We didn't go to that. We didn't make it that way. So what am I supposed to do? Lie? I'm supposed to go to a school. Get it? Schools invite me all the time. So I'm supposed to go to a school and lie to the kids and call myself a spiritual being, call myself divine. And I go before the kids, and you know damn well, KRS, that you dropped out of junior high school. Okay? Went to the Brooklyn Public Library, educated yourself, and then wrote the dopeness down as rhymes and poetry. Spoke your poetry to the world, and you made millions. Now, I'm supposed to go before the kids and say, no, none of that happened. What happened was I should have stayed in school, y'all. I should have stayed in school, and I should have, but no, I'm going to go right to these kids. I'm going to say, listen, school didn't offer me anything. Now, if school offers you something, fine, stay in school. I'm a teacher. I urge you to get educated. If you're getting educated in this institution, stay here and get educated. But if you're in an institution that's still pushing Christopher Columbus and a white Jesus, there's no way I can tell you to stay in that school, even if you white. My white brothers and sisters, get the fuck out of there. They're telling you a slave owner and basically the devil. Imagine that. White folk called the devil. Black people called the devil. Everybody's called the devil by the devil. By these colonists, by these imperialists. White man, learn your history. Learn your true history. Learn who you really are. Not this American version of what white people are, or should I say this, an American version of what European people are. You got to do the history. Like, because look at it, I'll show you an injustice right now before I go on. Here's the injustice to white people, okay? Here's the injustice right here, okay? How do you have a Black History Month and no White History Month, no Latino History Month, no Native American History Month, no Asian History Month, nothing, no Persian Arab History Month, nothing. But we have this Black History Month. And the only reason it's Black History Month is because so-called white history, white American history, ignores our entire existence. So out of a crime, we commit another crime. Out of a crime, why are you teaching American history void of Black people and Native Americans, or what you call Indians and Negroes? What is this? You're lying. So when the lie got so crazy that Carter G. Woodson, at the top of the 20th century, had to say, yo, we're going to do this Negro Journal thing. And this is how we're going to do this. Okay? This is how we're going to do this. Because our history is nowhere. But even worse, no one ever checked for the white man. And said, and look at it, because white folk were so duped in this American thing. They didn't give a fuck about their history. In fact, they were willing to give up their history to become Americans. You French, with a 1,000-year history in France, you willing to give that up to become American. You Spanish, 1,000-year history in Spain, 1,000-year history in Greece, 1,000-year history in Rome, or just Italy, 1,000-year history in Czechoslovakia, all these places. Okay, white folk came to America and said, "Fuck all that. We're not doing that. We are Americans now." and they called themselves Americans. They made themselves Americans. They adopted whatever the white supremacist structure told them to adopt so that you could get money, so that you can get education, so that you can get this. They treated white people like dogs. These capitalists, these colonists, that you see the Statue of Liberty, which you know was first donated to France as a black woman breaking her chains. Nobody want to talk about that. They got all kind of theories now that that's not true anymore. No, it was true. It was true for 100 years. It's still true today. That Statue of Liberty that we're looking at right there is a fake. And then on top of that, if you even want to go and say, no, it's not fake, Chris, that's the one that they delivered because America rejected the black woman breaking her chains. They rejected that. So they put a white woman holding up a torch. They say the torch is knowledge because that's what the torch usually, in Western culture, the torch is usually the sign of knowledge. Holding a torch with a flame is usually the sign of knowledge. But it wasn't. The artist specifically said it's the torch of freedom. She's holding the torch of freedom. But no, they said, oh, it's knowledge that then, on top of that, even though this was given as a testament to black liberation, here comes the white folk from Europe. And the worst white folk from Europe. No disrespect, but we can see the history. We know what happened when all these millions, 3, 4, 5, nothing like you see today. They complaining, oh, Mexicans at the border, there's people coming in. There were tens of millions of white people coming into this country in droves. Diseased, no job, no education, nothing. They came here, the American government gave them everything they needed and denied black people and Native Americans what they needed. This is the history. This is the truth. But we don't want truth. We want more lies and we want to satisfy our emotions. So those of us with truth go into temples and shut the door. And that's why the door is shut at the synagogue, the door is shut at the temple, the door is shut at the church, the door is shut at the mosque, because these spiritual teachers feel that they can't, I guess you feel that you can't reach the people because they're too gone in their ways. Or you feel you're better than them or above them in some way. I don't know what it is. But for me, when God touched my mind, I read 900 books. Okay, there's not much you telling me. So I don't understand, like, you got knowledge and you know what to tell your people. You don't go to your people. You don't go to your people. I go anywhere I'm called. And sometimes I'm not even called places. God put me in places. And I know I got to do the work right there. It may not be where I want to be. It may not be who I want to speak to. It may not be amongst the people I want to be with. But if God put me here and said, this is what you got to do, who are you working for? Yourself or for the divine mind of the universe? Are you truly divine or are you afraid? Are you really strong or are you weak? Are you confused and ignorant? Are you aware and knowledgeable? These are the questions. And this is not answered with your mouth. It's answered with your character, which then moves your actions. For us here in America, no so-called man or woman of God has a real message or even a plan for the ghettos of America. No spiritual, religious, or philosophical school of thought is speaking directly to us. Hip-hop, the most influential urban movement of the 21st century so far, and no one's speaking to us. And they can't say that they don't see us or hear us. Hip-hop as an urban movement is everywhere. Everywhere. As an urban movement, we are everywhere. The truth is that we are simply being socially, politically, and spiritually ignored. Do you hear that? Socially, politically, and spiritually ignored. And everyone seems to be cool with this. Even those religious and philosophical institutions that claim to acknowledge a universal God or claim to be a force for good in the American society. It is like we, those that live hip hop, are on the outside of their concept of a universal God. It's like we just supposed to be without God or any kind of authentic spiritual knowledge of our own. And everyone is cool with this. Even though everyone can see that we are indeed in need of such knowledge, spiritual knowledge, no one is speaking to us still. And again, everyone, religious leadership, philosophers, preachers, everybody seems to be cool with this. We're just supposed to keep getting locked up for no reason, shot in the back while running from the police, denied loans, denied jobs, denied opportunity, denied education, and even denied God. This is how we're supposed to live. Look at it. This is how my socio-political group, that's called hip hop, is expected to live today, according to all the religions and all philosophy, all kinds of so-called spiritually enlightened people that see and hear the levels of oppression, corruption, lawlessness that we hip-hoppers are facing every day. And they still choose to do nothing. They all see us. They all know what we are about or can find out what we're about. And all of these so-called paths to enlightenment ignore our very hip-hop existence and our obvious needs for knowledge of the Spirit. You have a knowledge of the Spirit and you see people in need of it and you don't want to give it to them. You got rich or selling knowledge of the Spirit. You see people in need of that knowledge and you won't go to them unless they pay you. Now, this may be cool for those that, for your God and your spirituality, that may be cool. But for hip hop, that's not cool. It's just not cool for us. We respect it for you. When we come to your house, we'll act like that in your house. But in our house, we don't act like that. That's not expected of us here. We don't ignore the oppressed. We don't ignore corruption. They all know where we are, but still choose to ignore our existence. This is why hip hop itself has established its own temple, which does deal with our spiritual existence. You know, God loves us too. Yeah, God loves hip hop. In fact, God is hip hop. We should probably stop saying God and say hip hop. Think about it. What is outside of a universal God? That's a philosophical question. What is outside of a universal God? Okay, an omnipotent, that's all strength, omniscient, all-knowing, omnipresent, everywhere, God. What is outside of that? What is outside of this kind of unifying being, this being of oneness? What's outside of it? Nothing. So why is hip hop perceived outside of God? This is the deliberate disrespect that we're dealing with. If God is all, then why is God not hip hop? If God is all love and all life and truth, why is that not hip hop then? Why is God not all love and truth and light in hip hop? Because all of these other religions don't recognize. Look at it. They're willing to compromise and contradict their own book to deny us our rightful place in the world. Oh no, we're gonna talk today. I'm probably down to one member, because I don't know how long y'all gonna be able to take this, especially if you stuck in that old way. See, what is outside of this kind of unified oneness? Nothing. So why is hip hop perceived outside of God? Grow up. The truth is obvious. If we know for a fact that most of the religious practices today, especially those of Christianity, were stolen from some now forgotten indigenous group. We know this. And we young Africans in America just as an example, are the only socio-political group in the United States without a spiritual path of our own. It is clear then where everyone got their spiritual path from. They got their spiritual path from the invasions, robberies, and deaths of our ancestors. Look at this. I mean, come on. See, I'm from the hood, okay, for real. So when you missing stuff in the hood, and you say, somebody robbed my coat, somebody took my sheepskin. I don't know who did it, but I see dudes walking around with sheepskin. And I'm like, wait a minute, yo, hold up. One of these guys, y'all can't afford no sheepskin. So I'm missing a sheepskin, and all of a sudden a dude that couldn't afford one got one. So I gotta sit back in the hood and be like, nah, hold up. You got my stuff, yo. You can't afford a sheepskin. I could afford one. Suddenly my sheepskin's missing, and you're wearing a sheepskin. The exact one, of course, that I had. But you're wearing a sheepskin that you couldn't afford. The same thing with religion. Let's be real about this. Let's be real about this, okay? Everything that I'm saying can be backed up and substantiated with real evidence. That's why I keep going back to this. I'm not making that up. I'm not criticizing them. I'm speaking fact, truth, logic, reason. Everything I'm saying, backed up by evidence. Even real testimonies, real socio-political effects, like history. We can see all of this. We can see all of this playing out in front of us. Yet still, there is not one major religion or spiritual path or philosophical institution truly concerned with our well-being or with our real understanding of spiritual law. This lack of concern for us, however, reveals who the thieves of our birthrights really are. Think about it. Don't emotionalize over this. Think about this. Why are none of today's religions in sync with their own holy book? You know, no religion is practicing the principles of its own holy book as a whole. Like, you could always say one or two dudes are not practicing. One or two dudes ain't practicing. But I'm talking about the whole religion not practicing what it claims is its principles. We're living in these times, you know, where Jesus says, love your enemies, do good to those who harm you. America is a Christian nation. People don't like to hear that, but that's the principles it was founded on. The Bible, all of that. Do good to your enemies. No, America's supplying Israel with genocide. They're letting them do it. They're giving them weapons, money, support to go kill people. And you Christian? See, if you want to front with God, you go right ahead. We're not doing it here at the Temple of Hip Hop. We're not doing that. We're going to walk the line. We're going to walk the path. And we're going to walk the path because it's our birthright. We can walk the path. It's not difficult for us. Look, why is it so difficult for today's spiritual and religious leaders to remain consistent with their own spiritual teachings? Why is it so difficult? Answer: it ain't theirs. The teachings don't belong to them. And we can see in action and in character. I'm not dissing, I'm not disrespecting, I'm not criticizing. We just gonna look at the book, the text, and then look at your character. That's all we gonna do. Look at what you say is holy, and then look at your character against it. It don't match, and we know it don't match. So why we here? Why are we thinking anything else other than we need to start a new spiritual path? Because these other ones are leading us to something that's not spiritual, that's not godly, that's not divine. they are practicing as religion is foreign to their understanding and foreign to their actual way to be, their culture. Christianity, for one, is black oppressed culture. That's what people don't realize. You can't, look at this. With all intended respect, who is actually living the actual life that Yeshua lived? Is any of these mega churches with 20,000 members and more, are they living the life of a lowly carpenter? Is it the Vatican? Is the Vatican living the life? I mean, because they're all Jesus, you know, and Mary and Joseph, and they're all that. Are they living the life of St. John the Baptist? Are they locking up their hair and going and living in the forest and eating locusts and honey, preparing the way for the Christ? Are they doing that? No criticism whatsoever. Jesus is said to have been born in a manger, like with animals, like in a barn somewhere, okay, with goats and sheep. You know that place stinks? Feces and piss everywhere, half-eaten food on the floor. That's what it's like to be around goats. That's why they say Jesus was born. Now take a look at the Vatican. Take a look at all these black churches with mega millions. I heard somebody say the other day in a church forum, and this was an old church forum too, like from the early 2000s. He said donations in America every Sunday reach 300 billion. You didn't hear that, right? $300 billion in donations. Oh man. And look, these are the donations we know about. These are the donations that churches have to declare to the bank. So that's how we got the number. There's all types of other givings and gifts and stuff that's not even registered, not even accounted for. $300 billion. The Christian church, too, by the way, not the Jewish, not the the synagogue, not the mosque. They got their own economy. The Christian church alone, $300 billion in donations. Crazy. That's what these ministers are working for. They ain't working for you. They're working for that $300 billion. They've turned God into a job. And so they live the life of Job. You're not even hearing me. So let me continue. No disrespect here at all. We are speaking scholarly and respectfully. No unjust criticism, just truth, facts, logic, reason. That's all. We are philosophers. So we are asking philosophical questions with an aim toward making things better. Making religions and spiritual thought of all kinds better. Not just criticizing, but making thoughts and activities, making the thoughts and activities of our ancestors and our parents better. Improving upon what we have inherited. If you ain't trying to make things better, then what are you doing? Trying to make things worse? In fact, if you ain't trying to make things better, this whole discourse is not for you. But if you are truly trying to make things better, and this is the key right here, then the real question here is, how can all of these so-called spiritual masters, not the religion now, let's go to the individual, these so-called spiritual masters, that's what they call them, spiritual masters, see and hear our urban condition, knowing that we are being unjustly attacked by all kinds of corrupt institutions, corporate exploitation, racial hate, and political robbery. And still, these spiritual masters do nothing. Still, they say nothing. Still, they offer us nothing. Nothing. They claim to have God on their side. They claim to be blessed, favored, chosen, accepted. All of these, yet still, nothing for us. Nothing for those whose culture and community is called hip hop and is clearly being neglected, mistreated, over-policed, undereducated. You don't see that spiritual master. This points to another question in the pursuit of making spirituality better. Another question. The question is, why is it so difficult for today's spiritual leaders and teachers to remain consistent with their own spiritual teachings? It is because such teachings were never theirs to begin with. That's the point. And those that are without a spiritual path can see why they are without they can see why they are without a spiritual path. It was stolen by those whose character cannot match that which they stole. It's really that simple. If you just look at the situation, you will see the obvious truth in it. Most of these spiritual teachers and religious institutions fail to live up to the character of their own teachings because such teachings were never theirs to begin with. Such teachings don't belong to them, and their character proves it. Spiritual teachings are usually culturally based. They belong to a specific group of people that have developed themselves into the divine beings recorded in their writings. And those writings are for their children. This idea of adopting foreign ideas and foreign religions as one's own is a trait of colonialism and colonial rule. Technically, you cannot simply adopt that which you admire. That's colonial thinking. I could just adopt Buddhism and just study it, and I could become a Buddhist as a European, as an African American, as an African, as anything. I'm just going to go now to Tibet and adopt they whole deal. And people do it and waste their whole lives. And I say that respectfully. You may be watching me right now, hating me right now, saying, what is this? Who is this guy? Okay, I'm here to tell you the truth. Okay, I am called the truth. And the truth is that, let me finish. Matter of fact, here's the truth right here. You cannot adopt that which you admire. That's colonial. Some things actually belong to some people, and they don't belong to you. And likewise, some things simply don't belong to some people and don't belong to you, or belong to you, don't belong to me. But intense envy, leading to jealousy, and then robbery, is what the true and original teachers of the universe, nature, and God were faced with. In addition, the true and original teachers of the universe, nature, and God were also faced with disobedient students and apprentices. This is the next piece. Where after being told not to reveal these teachings to the public, they went ahead and released such teachings to the public anyway for their own popularity or whatever. Our temple here, Temple of Hip Hop, is suffering from this right now, where I'm beginning to see people take these private teachings that we're doing right here, take these teachings, meant only for the members of our temple, and making their own unauthorized videos, commentaries on what I'm teaching. I didn't authorize anybody to put these teachings on their own channel or video and comment on them. You don't have enough knowledge for that. You are learning, and we're going to take years to learn before you can teach. But we're suffering from this right now. Right now, I asked that we not reveal this knowledge. If you want this knowledge, come to the Temple of Hip Hop, where you can review our long list of how we got to where we are talking about today. But to just put my words out on the internet or out on YouTube so you can get likes and views, you're using your teacher now. You're exploiting the knowledge now. You the Judas now. Come on now. And we all deal with this. So I got to bring this up too, right here in our own house. People claiming Temple of Hip Hop in other countries and in other areas of the United States, but do not coincide or in harmony with what the teacher is teaching. People have already taken our name, Temple of Hip Hop, and said they the Temple of Hip Hop somewhere else. And I've never met them. I don't know them. I see them online. I see them pop up here and there. They come to a concert and take a picture with me and then run off and say, well, I'm the Temple of Hip Hop because I took a picture with KRS-ONE, the rapper. And you can see that you're not learning the lessons that I'm teaching because you're contradicting the teachings. And I give that real example to everybody. There are some spiritual teachers that say this knowledge is only for you. And when you learn it, then you teach it. But the need for whatever violates the rules. And when you violate your own law, you bring yourself down. You bring your temple down. This is what happened to many of our temples in early days too. All the temples were not invaded and robbed. All the temples were not bombed and blown up. Some of the students betrayed the teacher. And that's how the temple fell. Is this you? Let's correct ourselves after this call. So the same is true, obviously, for many spiritual, philosophical, and religious institutions where a certain knowledge meant for everybody, where certain knowledge not meant for everybody because of their own undeveloped character in that field is selfishly released to the public for whatever gain the student or apprentice can achieve. That's not the Temple of Hip Hop. And if you see this online, we should destroy it. Hip hop and the hip hop community deserves to know God and the principles of spiritual living because we are not separate from God or spiritual living. Even if you are uninterested in philosophy or spirituality in general, you should still know that you have access to a knowledge of God in your culture. For whenever you are ready, you should know that within your culture and community, there is a path toward God and knowledge of one's divine self. This too is part of hip hop, and this is why our temple for hip hop exists. We're not here to convince you of a foreign concept, faraway deities, invisible God. For us, hip hop spirituality has to be real and it has to make sense. This is why the principles of philosophy are so important to our spiritual inquiries. Getting at the truth, getting at the real of a subject or a thing. This is where hip hop spiritual path begins. It begins with what is real and how real we are toward what is real. We are the streets. We the hood. Our spirituality doesn't come from a mountaintop or a forest or a desert. We're not meditating in a cave somewhere. Our spirituality is born from the experiences of our ghetto lives. The word that we need to hear is not the word that others might need to hear. Our word is our word, and if you cannot speak that word to us, you simply ain't our teacher. You are not our spiritual teacher. And look at this. It is not that today's preachers and philosophers today don't have a word for us. It's not that. It's what I said earlier. The places you go, we don't go. The places, what you eat, we don't eat. What you smoke, we don't smoke. What you drink, we don't drink. The people you hang with, we don't hang with those people. So how can you teach us anything? And this is the point now. This is the point. So we've talked now for the first hour and a half. Let's take a break now. Let's take a break. And think about what I just said for the first hour and a half. Think about that, what I just said. A lot of this spiritual stuff we reading, like for those of you that have Gaia, for instance, right? Gaia, I love the Gaia channel, Gaia. If you're not subscribed to Gaia, I suggest you subscribe to Gaia, especially if you're on a spiritual path. Make sure you have Gaia as one of your channels, or speak it into your remote, let it come up on the TV. It's very informative, Gaia. But at the same time, Gaia ain't got no black people talking on it. All white folk, everybody, maybe a couple of Asians talking, maybe one black person, and they're not even talking no deep spirituality. They just, I don't even know what they're doing there. But the point of the matter is that the whole Gaia channel has nothing to say to me. Nothing to say to me. Now, of course, I'm speaking in slang language in that sense. Let me clarify. Like I just said, Gaia is dope. Okay, Gaia channel is dope. That's probably the only channel you should be watching if you're spiritual. Okay, they got all kinds of stuff up there that you need to know, and it's important to know. Ain't no hip hop there. Ain't no black ghetto thought there. And black ghetto thought is everywhere. They just ain't putting it up. Now, maybe we got to go to them. I will put that disclaimer on it. How many black folk did go to Gaia with a full-length feature film on spirituality? How many hip-hoppers do go to Gaia with a full-length feature film on hip-hop spirituality? We ain't did that yet. So let's ease back on Gaia real quick. But when you go to the station and you look, you see white people talking about Asian religions. You see white folk talking about ancient black religions, like Egypt and Kemet and all this. You never see no black people talking about black culture. Every time we talk about the pyramids, you see Hawi Sawas and these women, all these people. No black people, though. Only the face of the colonizer of black people is who you see. And I say that respectfully because it's history. Nothing I'm saying is a lie or deceptive or evil or wrong. Nothing. This is truth and light. We have to put our spiritual thought in the world, not for our aggrandizement, but because the world is without spiritual guidance right now. And you know that's the truth. You know that's the truth. The whole world is without spiritual guidance. Sure, individuals might be feeling the bliss, because that's how spirituality works. There's so many people in this world, probably thousands of people in this world, that's like, yeah, Chris, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not leaving Belize to come into some goddamn hood, okay, and teach these people, okay? I hear you, Chris, but the Fiji Islands is dope, and there ain't no problems over here. We in bliss and meditation right here in the Fiji Islands. There's people all over this world, y'all, all over Africa, enlightened, and I'm saying really enlightened. Beings of love, beings of peace, beings with mass knowledge, beings that can communicate to other dimensions and do amazing things with their body and yours. There's people in the world like this. I've met them. I've been to the environments. I know they exist. But I would never give up their address. Because the minute I say, it's over here, y'all, this is where it is, all these people going to come and ruin the situation. And we know, we've learned this. Those of us that actually build temples, we learned this already. In past lives, we've learned this. So again, and I'm bringing balance to the conversation. Look at what I'm saying here. In one breath, I'm criticizing and I'm saying, yo, you closing the door on us. We deserve God too. But on the other breath, even if I walked in your facility, you ain't gonna tell me nothing for me. You're gonna push that colonialism and me being a slave. That's what you're gonna tell me is godly and right and holy? I can't even do that. So there's only one path for us. Make your own. Make your own. This is our only path. And I want you to think about that as we take this break. Check out this video. I did it a couple of years ago with Son One. It's called Hip Hop Forever. Listen to this. Son One's getting it together. This is not the video. Although I can spit that raw right now, but no, Son One's getting it together right now. Think about this, y'all. This is all contemplation times also. Let me shut my mouth. Contemplate, think about what a new spiritual path should look like. Okay, you said miracle? So we're going to throw this. Well, that's actually relevant too, see? Wow, look at that. Be led by God. Don't try to force your way. I know you want to play your video. God has something else in mind. Actually, I want to play my video. I wanted to play, we'll get to Hip Hop Forever. Maybe we'll play it after this. But Son One claims that he has another video ready, which is actually called Miracle, which the ancestors are probably saying to us right now, no, don't play that one, play this one. Go with the flow.
Okay. Let me know if it's a lot.
It sound like the TEACHA. It sound like
yeah.
I'm a miracle. Forget whatever I can afford. I am a miracle. Walking with the strength of a Lord. Spitting lyrical. How am I even spitting it all? That's a miracle. 30 years, KRS-ONE. How we still hearing you? Yo, it's a miracle. No, not just my lyricals. My data is empirical when it comes to these miracles. Within the miracle, I am the miracle. I am the pinnacle. Never pitiful. See past the typical. Deep mystical. Meta and physical. Rational and spiritual. Mind over material. I am the miracle. Say it with me. I am the miracle. Wipe away the doubt, the disbelief, and the fear in you. Project your mind down the line about a year or two. See yourself pursuing it and doing what you here to do. You are the miracle. Yes, you are the miracle. You get what you expect. See 1,000 people cheering you. You are the miracle. You and I, a miracle. This is intellectually critical and political. Yes, you are the miracle, cause faced with the imperial, we didn't lose our spiritual. That alone is a miracle. Standing on principle while others steady dissing you, but still showing love, living above, that's a miracle. They tried to put the fear in you, act like they wasn't hearing you, but that was minimal. You remain the miracle. No hate or bitterness, cause both are reciprocal. Not to become hateful toward hate, that's a miracle. The rent due and the landlord, he ain't hearing you, but the check with no money on it you gave him just cleared for you. Miracle. When you pray, someone's always hearing you. Ancestors, Holy Spirit, maybe someone near to you. A miracle.
You are a miracle. Fresh, you are a miracle. Blessed, you are a miracle. You are a miracle. You are a miracle. Yes, you are a miracle. Fresh, you are a miracle. Blessed, you are a miracle. You are a miracle. You are a miracle.
Yes, indeed, you are a miracle, and you know you are. And you gotta know you are. That's this whole lesson here. I hope you contemplated the first half of this lesson, talking about the hypocrisy really in today's spirituality and how hip-hop cannot be part of that. We don't ignore the oppressed. We're not ignoring colonialism and its effects on religion and spirituality. We're not ignoring the cries of the poor, the cries of the ignorant, the cries of our brothers and sisters right around us. How can I be eating and you not? And I'm eating right in front of your face. No, we don't do that here. This is a different spiritual path that doesn't believe in war and as a means of getting its point across. We're going to kill you if you don't agree with what we deal with. We're going to enslave you if we're not doing that. We don't have that history either. So turn your gospel now to page 148 of the Gospel of Hip Hop. Page 148 of the Gospel of Hip Hop is Perform God. And before we get started with this read here, let me make one more distinction before we get started. That is, you will notice that the writing style of the Gospel of Hip Hop, the writing style is that, God with a capital G, lowercase o-d is you. When we talk about, when you see written God in uppercase G, lowercase o-d, we're talking about your divine nature, the divinity of you, actually you, the God. When God is spelled capital G, capital O, capital D, that is the sovereign mind of the universe, the spirit, the great spirit that we come from, the unifier, the oneness. This is G-O-D, the capital letter G, capital letter O, capital letter D. So make this distinction. God, the sovereign mind of the universe, the being, I can't even say mind, just the being that we are immersed in, the intelligence that we are immersed in is capital G-O-D. We in it is capital G, lowercase o, lowercase d. Let's read. I have the Gospel of Hip Hop with me here, Perform God. So we start off with act consciously with the intelligence or force that guides your life. You'll notice that most of these divine performances, the very first line is the instruction. Perform God. How do you perform God? Act consciously. Act. Action. Act consciously with the intelligence or the force that guides your life. There's a force. There's something that is guiding you, and you know it's guiding you. There's little signs that you see, and you're led toward them. There's things that happen that puts you in certain situations that you needed to be in, but you didn't know you needed to be there. There's a guiding force in your life. And if there is no guiding force in your life, all you got to do is look for it, and it will appear. There's an old saying that says, when you look for God, God is looking for you. The speed by which you are searching for God is the speed by which God is searching for you. So the minute you say or perceive, I'm going to perform God, I'm going to act consciously with the intelligence that's already guiding me. I'm going to act consciously with it. I'm not going to ignore God anymore in my life. I'm not going to ignore the guiding force anymore in my life. I'm going to acknowledge it now. Make the decision to finally acknowledge and expect God's actual presence. These are the words. Meditate on this. It's powerful. Turn your conscious attention away from the reality of the material world as valuable, and turn your conscious attention toward the value of God above all else in and as your life. God number one. Put God first in your life. Throughout the day, make an effort to raise your heart and mind to the acts of God. Act like your God would act. Speak like your God would speak. Love like your God would love. God is not a name. God is a nature. It says it is a nature. Acknowledge the nature that has governed and guided your life. Now, go back real quick. You'll notice the differences in the spellings. Put God, capital G, capital O, capital D, first in your life. Throughout the day, make an effort to raise your heart and mind to the acts of capital G lower O-D. Did you see that? Put God first, the sovereign being of the universe, the great spirit. That's first. That's what we respect first. We're going to re-look at that first. We're going to respect God. We're going to respect. Spect meaning look, re means again. We're going to again look at God whenever we're doing something. Whenever we're doing something, saying something, we're going to reflect on God. God, would you say this? Would you do this? Do you approve of this? Is this part of what you're teaching me? Is this part of the guidance? We're going to read, again, spect, look at God. So you see here the capital G-O-D being interchanged with the capital G lowercase o-d. Those that have their gospel, you can see the interchanging with that. So it says, throughout the day, make an effort to raise your heart and mind to the acts of God, capital G lower o-d. Listen, look at it. Raise your heart and mind to the acts of your divine self. Act like your God would act. Capital G, lowercase o-d. Speak like your God would speak. Love like your God would love. God is not a name, it is a nature. A meta nature. A metu nectar. Acknowledge the nature that has governed and guided your life. Be God's will on earth. Be the love. You hear that? Be God's will. Don't look for it. Be it. Be the love that is God. Align your spirit through visualization to the totality of your God. Act out of your highest comprehended good. Act and speak on behalf of your God, the love. Ability to care unconditionally for yourself and others. Be the actual personality of your God in the lives of others. Answer the prayers of those in need. Do God's work in the world. This is the hip-hop spiritual path. Be the actual personality of your divine self. Don't make choices. Be the personality of your God. Be it. Wow, this is powerful. And you know what I'm thinking about here? It says, be the actual personality of your God in the lives of others. Boom. That's where God shows up. That's when God shows up, right there. Because you're going to be the God force in somebody else's life. And that could just be a plate of food to a homeless person who prayed, am I going to eat tonight? And ask some God something of their nature. God, don't let me die out here tonight. I need something to eat. And here you come with a fresh thing of food that you done gouged yourself in a restaurant, got a doggy bag or whatever. You hand it off, hot food, whatever it is, they happy. That was an act of God. That's an act of God. You are answering somebody else's prayers. You're answering. You're making God real in somebody else's life. That's the spiritual life. Just like we teach that, what is the job of a hip-hop teacher? To make hip-hop real to the student, to the apprentice. The job of the teacher is to make hip-hop real for you. Well, the job of the teacher in the spiritual realm is to make God real for you. Makes God and spiritual living real for you. Not, I'm praising this God I never see, never meet, never speaks to me, nothing. It's just, I don't know what that is, but you just don't have God. Real talk, miracles don't happen in your life. And I know that sounds crazy because for me, miracles happen every day. And even when I don't even need them, I be bumping into things and things happen. Like, I'll be like, whoa, okay. You know, let me just, people show up when they need to and disappear when they don't need to be here. There's all types of things. I mean, the Temple of Hip Hop alone is a miracle. You are a miracle. That thing alone is a miracle. So that's what I'm saying. I'm teaching something that I'm experiencing for real. And I'm trying to show you how to experience it as well. If you're not already experiencing this, if you're already experiencing miracles in your life, and not even miracles, just if you're already experiencing the life, the way, if you're experiencing this way to be, then what I'm doing is confirming where you are. If in fact you haven't achieved where you need to be, I'm putting you up on game right now. I'm hipping you to this movement, hipping you to this hop. This is a wonderful, wonderful life. It is a wonderful, wonderful life to walk in the truth. And I hope that's what I'm showing you. I hope that's actually what I'm showing you. You know, that I'm not, you know, just talking, but that you look at my life, look at the whole thing, not just this this video here, but look at everything. Judge the total me. There's some things I do or say that you might not like or might not have liked. Judge the whole me. But when you finish judging the whole me, all you gonna get is me. And you gonna get this me too, okay? This is the me you gonna get. Everybody know this is KRS, this is Chris, this is who I am all the time, every day, all day, this is it. So I don't have no problem living out the gospel that we put together. I ain't got no problem with it. As a matter of fact, no one else with the Temple of Hip Hop really has a problem with it either, because I only spiritualize who we already are. We already came with a spiritual method, man, for who we already are, which is what real religion is, but I'm not going to use that term. I'm just going to go ahead and say our spiritual path operates like this, and we've spiritualized it for our children. We're not criminalizing our lives like slavery did. We're spiritualizing our lives like God did. Be the actual personality of your God in the lives of others. I just want to read this part again, this top part just before that. I'm on paragraph 2. It says, develop the ability to care unconditionally for yourself and others. Powerful line. Develop the ability. We don't expect you to have it now. Develop the ability to care. This is the key word, care. Unconditionally for yourself and for others. That's a loaded line. I could spend another hour just on that. Just on that. Develop the ability. So care is an ability. Develop the ability to care unconditionally for yourself and others. And why is that line so important? Because when you develop the ability to care, you have love in your heart. Care and love go together. You can't care for something you don't love. Care comes out of love. So when you really care for something, you're really putting your being in it, because you're putting your love on it. Now imagine doing that for everybody you meet. Unconditionally, I love you. And look at the word unconditionally. See, we play games with that word too, because God loves us unconditionally. God got to put up with all of our immaturities and our failures and inconsistencies and even betrayals. Forgive them, Father, Mother, they know not what they do. God has to deal with all of it. So if you're walking a godly path or a divine path, don't you think you have to care unconditionally for all of God's children? Black, white, old, young, gay, straight? Come on now. You're going to look at a trans person, a man identifying himself as a woman, or a woman identifying herself as a man, or masculine, I should put it that way. A woman identifying more with the masculine, a man identifying more with the feminine. You can't love that unconditionally. Now, I see if you're just a regular Joe on the street, you know, and you trapped in the traditions of the Christian church. I understand you now. I get you. You don't like that. Homosexuality is not for you because of your tradition and who you are. But guess what? Hip hop was not made like that. Hip hop has mad gay people in this culture. Okay? And we got to have a word for you. There's no gay discrimination here. Now, of course, in joke, you got gay people, you want to be treated equal, you have to take some jokes, okay? Like we all do. Come on now, I can't cringe when people come with black jokes, or people want to joke about rappers and stuff like that, or good roast. You know, we all get together and disrespect one person we truly honor. All of that is legitimate. So again, to my gay brothers and sisters out there, get a thick skin, man. If you hip hop, now if you gay and something else, that I don't know what that is. Okay, you let them teach you. But if you hip hop and you gay, get a strength on you. First of all, hip hop is not against you at all, at all. Many of our founders are gay. Let's keep it real. However, I'm talking about unconditional love. We got to love one another no matter what we sound like, look like, dress like, who we want to sleep with, what we eat. All of that's bullshit when it comes to the love, the God, the divinity within yourself and outside of yourself, the divinity in which you're immersed in, and the divinity within yourself. Divinity doesn't even know man or woman. You want to go deep? I gotta read this, y'all. I can't get deep in this, okay? Divinity has always been discussed as male and female. Always. Even the Bible preaches that. They against women, okay, in the Bible. Let's keep that real too. Okay, in the Bible, women have a hard time in the Bible. But even the Bible says the first being that was created was male and female together. Then God creates some other thing called Eve. So if we're going to be philosophers and we're going to talk truth and we're going to be real about it, okay, we are a new ministry in the world. And we don't have problems with gay people. We don't have problems with those who want to become men if you're women, or women, you know, those who do the surgery and all that. I mean, personally, I find that remarkable, actually, that you would go to those lengths even. You know, it's one thing for a dude to just walk around mouthing off, like, yeah, I feel like this. But it's another thing to actually start taking pills and go under the knife and all that type of stuff. You yourself, forget what I think, forget my opinion. You yourself must be serious about yourself. To do all that to yourself, you must be serious about what you believe about yourself. Yeah, that. Yeah. I may disagree. But in Christ, in God, I have to, it's not even have to. My being doesn't allow me to hate another being. In fact, my inquisitive mind wants to know more about you. That's if you want to know about KRS. That's where I'm at. How you think? What you feel like? What you think like? How'd you get here? What is that? That's what I want to know. Hatred? pointing fingers, disrespected, that cannot be part of our culture. Cannot. Racism, sexism, you dissing women. And I'm not talking about these stupid ass rappers with bitches and hoes in their video. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the real degradation of women and femininity, putting women under men and even under animals. Okay, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's ox, thy neighbor's ass, thy neighbor's wife. Come on, man. Okay, now like I said, I may disagree with all of this, but I want to know though. I want to know more. I'm inquisitive about knowledge. And so when a new human being comes to me that's not like me, I want to know more about you. Matter of fact, I'm more fascinated about you as a human type than trying to confirm my own version of what I think human is. As a human being, I should be searching what human is rather than defining what human is, because we don't know what human is. Let God reveal to us what human is, and it may not be you. It may not be what you think. It may not be what you about. It may not be any of this. So what's the message right now? Tolerance for each other, respect for each other, care for one another. Anyone with a beating heart deserves the care. Come on, you want to get more controversial with me? Hip hop is pro-life. Yes, we have abortions all over the place. Okay, hip hop is known for that. But at its core, hip hop is pro-life. At its core, we want life. Now, of course, that includes the life of the mother. And in hip hop, we were raised by our mothers. Our mothers kill us. Now, in your culture, your mother might not do that. And it might be unheard of, like, wow, your mother can kill you? Yeah, yo. Keep it real with hip hop. And I mean hip hop. The ones that are in our culture, even you white, Asian, Latino, black, you listening to me right now, you know you come from a parent that'll beat your motherfucking ass. You step out of line. Okay? Now, some of you in hip hop, you haven't had that parent. I understand. We're living in new times. But if you 58 like me, okay, and you grew up in the 70s and the 60s, you got your ass beat. Okay? And you got your ass beat by your mother. Now, there was no father there. It was your moms who said, I brought you in this world, I'll take you out. And you did not play with that. You took the garbage out after that. You washed the dishes after that. You cleaned up your room after that. Because you knew the next thing coming was a frying pan, a metal frying pan against your head. You know how violent that is? That's our mother. Take that strap off her waist and start wailing on you all over the house. See, young kids today, that's why they running around shooting up schools and acting stupid. Nobody beating their ass. And nobody want to say that. We know damn well what these kids need. But we don't want to do it. We don't want to recognize the truth. But I know when I was growing up, and a lot of you out there know. I mean, if you're over a certain age, you know, because I guess if you're not from the era we from, then you're not going to understand this. Like, and isn't it difficult to understand? Like, look at this, how difficult that is to understand. That your mother who loves you, brought you into the world, feeds you, educates you, and clothes you, shelters you. This loving being, this woman, some of us even suckled her breast for food. Okay, this same being will knock your head off if you go against what she's saying. That right there, I'm bringing it up because there are realities that we all don't understand because of the times in which we're living. But if you are a philosopher, if you're willing to think, put the emotion aside and just look at the results of what this was, you'll see that those that got their ass beat, they were successful in life. Those that didn't get their ass beat, they still trying to figure out how to control themselves. They still having trouble with people and with authority. You know, they don't understand authority. They don't understand obedience. They don't understand following. They don't understand teamwork. That's another one. If you've never played on a team, you know, never had the coach bench you, never lost a game with a group and we all cried together, then won the game and we all cheered together. Many of us don't get these opportunities. And it affects how you grow up. Come on, y'all, let's get through this. Develop the ability to care unconditionally. That's what unconditional means. We don't judge people here. We care unconditionally. If you have a beating heart, lungs, and I mean animals too. We speak up for the unborn here within hip hop. We're not about abortions and just killing babies. No, we're not about that. And if you are about that, correct yourself. Correct yourself. Don't just watch TV and let them tell you what the abortion debate is. That's not true, because both sides are politicizing the abortion debate. The true debate with abortion, as a matter of fact, there is no debate with abortion. In African cultures and in hip hop's culture, your mother can kill you. So I don't care if you agree with that shit or not, or if you understand it or not, but it is the truth and the reality of nature. Of nature, not Christian law, not US law, not none of that. The law of nature is that I'm your mother, I brought you in, I takes you out. And we saw this with slave mothers who were trapped in slavery, mothers under terrorism. They have their children, or they see that them and their children are going to be enslaved. So many stories of the mothers killing their children and themselves so that their child doesn't have to deal with that. That's an old African trait. They used to call the Phoenicians baby killers because of this. You know, Africans took it to the next level. If you come out with a defect, like your teeth ain't right, you get thrown in the river with a rock attached to your neck. A baby. They used to do this to white people, or should I say albino black people, which starts white people. But black people produce white people, you know. Albino blacks without the dark skin melanin. Well, if you was born like that in ancient Africa, you got thrown in the fire. You got thrown in there. You had to come out a certain way in the tribe. And so many mothers saw their children. They imagine you a mother. You wait 9 months. This baby kicking, happy baby. You happy for the baby, and the baby come out white. You jet black mother. Okay, you black. You African. Baby come out albino, white baby, blue eyes, light hair, red hair, and now here come the priest. Nope. This is not going to work. This could also be the deeper part to European hatred for Africans, because we know that this happened. We know that that's what happened in Africa. This document, you cannot get around that one. Africans were killing their kids for defect, for religious purposes, sacrifice. Come on, that too. This These are true. Now, whether it's right is another conversation. Whether it's wrong is another conversation. But did it happen is the philosophical conversation. Did it happen? Is it a fact? Do we have evidence? Then if we have a fact and it's evidence and we know that this happened, how do we apply it to the whole truth? Because you can't have a whole truth and this truth be out. So we just want the truth. And what's the truth? Africans killed their kids. Now that goes all the way up in tradition to, I mean, just off the top of my head, the Afro just came and told me to tell you about Abraham. Killing kids in the Bible. In fact, I'm not even going to get into the wars in the Bible where they say they kill men, women, children, and animals. I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to get into this Abraham part, just as a final note on this. This is biblical. God said, take Isaac and put him on the altar. Abraham actually takes Isaac, lies to him the whole time. Isaac even says, Dad, what's for dinner? He said, the Lord will provide, as he's sharpening the blade to kill his own son. That's biblical. He actually brings his son up, puts his son on the altar, and raises the knife, ready to do his own child. This is the beginning of Judaism. Kill your kids. Just as he raises the knife, though, you hear the story. The Lord came and said, no, don't do that no more. And notice how the story's told, because this is a regular practice. If you want to prove yourself before God, kill your kid and kill what you love to prove your allegiance to God. This was done for thousands of years. Wives getting killed, husbands getting killed, children getting killed, parents getting killed, so that this fool over here can prove their love before God. Come on now. And we got an example of that right there in Abraham. Thank you, Afro. We got an example of that right there in Abraham. So we're not judging if this is right or wrong. Again, we're not criticizing. We're just looking at the truth. And we're reviewing the facts and the evidence and what's written and what we could see, what we perceive as our history. Now, if that's wrong, turn this whole thing off. If that's wrong, don't listen to nobody lying to you or telling you something wrong. Don't listen to that. And if it's me, turn me off. If I'm lying, if I'm saying something that's not true, turn this thing off. Don't sit in front of no liars and no deceivers. We're talking truth. And the truth is hard sometimes to deal with. But you got to deal with it because it's going to lead to your maturity. And you'll see that the uncomfortable part that you had was your immaturity when you reach your maturity. Develop the ability to care unconditionally for yourself and others. Be the actual personality of God in the lives of others. Answer the prayers of those in need. Do God's work in the world. Act out the personality of your God and live in the character of your wiser self. Express the love of your God and see your God's finished work in everything and in everyone. In everything and everyone. The most important training you can do for yourself in life is to practice living in the presence and personality of your God. The love that is to the personality of your God, the love that is a true friend to all in its presence. That's what it is. Practice, let me say it again, because this is very important too. The most important training you can do for yourself in life is to practice living in the presence and personality of your God. was what? The love that is a true friend to all in its presence. Such a practice leads to peace and strength. Anyone in my presence is my friend until you betray that. And even then, you're still my friend. You're just a friend that betrayed me. But the love is for anyone. I exude the love. If you're around me, you're not going to be hungry. If you could find KRS-ONE, you're not going to be homeless. You're not going to be hungry. You're not going to be ignorant. You're not going to be, and not because I want to do this for you. It's because this is my environment. This is the environment here. You come around this dude named KRS-ONE, and you're going to eat something. You're going to learn something. You're not going to be who you was. And you can't be unless, right, you can be, but then you won't be in this guy's presence. You won't be in KRS-ONE's presence. But if you want to stay in KRS-ONE's presence, you're going to wind up being somebody else. You're going to wind up because I'm somebody else. And what lures most people to another person is what the other person got. It's what lures people in. What the other person got, and not always material. The other person got love. I'm Lord. The other person got respect. I'm Lord. The other person got knowledge. I'm Lord. Everybody's lured into something for some reason. Very few of us actually unite with another human being and get nothing out of it. Now, if you can arrive at that level, then you arrive at my level. My level is I don't know what I get out of anybody I know. And I say that respectfully. As a matter of fact, my students and apprentices hear me say all the time, if you call my name, you get a lot. If you in the street and you say KRS-ONE, you might avoid a fight. You might get into a club for free. Somebody might even give you some money and maybe a meal. Just by you walking around saying, yo, I work with KRS-ONE. I study with KRS-ONE. I do shows with KRS-ONE. Dudes look at you differently. But now, if I say your name, what do I get? What do I get if I say your name? And you should be thinking about that. You say my name, you can get something. But if I say your name, what do I get? And you may say, well, Chris, what can I give? What do I have? What does my name mean? Well, here's what your name means. I said this to Queen Latifah the other day. She called me out the blue. She called me up talking, just like a regular conversation. And she's praising me. You taught me so much. Da, 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 da. I said, Latifah, there's no me without you. I can't call myself a teacher if I don't have successful students. What kind of teacher are you then? If you teach it, ain't nobody learning nothing. You teach it, no one inspired. You teach it, no one goes from A to B. No one goes from B to C. Nothing. You just teach it. Nah, that's ineffective teaching. So I think Latifah, this is one random example. I think a lot of people who praise me for teaching them, and I say, no, you don't understand. Your success proves that I'm the teacher. Proves that what I'm teaching inspired you to at least get to where you gotta go. I never take credit for anybody's success. Even if I helped you, I will never take credit because you yourself, even if I give you the beat, give you the rhyme, and put you on my stage, you still gotta rhyme, walk to the stage, you still gotta spit that rhyme, you still got help is not the creation of somebody's career. Just because you help somebody get somewhere, no, that's not the creation of nobody's career. The creation of, matter of fact, you can't create somebody else's career. They, at the end of the day, the person who is the performer is going to have to perform. So whether I help you, assist you, give you, none of that really matters, really. What really matters is what you do with it. So if you call my name, what I get? I mean, if I call your name, what I get? That's another thing too, right? If you call my name, what I get, right? That's a different level. Man, the Afros are hitting me up today. Yeah, what do I get? It's all of it. All of these questions come into play. And what does it lead to? It leads to let's lift each other up. That's what it leads to. Let's lift each other up. It's not just about me teaching. It's about you learning. And then taking that knowledge and becoming successful with it. That validates me as a teacher. It validates me as a teacher. Well, right. You have successful students, KRS. And I do. And so this is what the real call was. And I thank Latifah for that. I thank Latifah for that call. She called out the blue, you know, and just wanted to say thanks. And I thank her for that. It's been 30 years. You know, Latifah and I grew up 30 years ago. You know, whatever it was. She became who she is. She was clearly a student of the early days of BDP. Same thing with Shakim. Early students. Tretch don't stop shouting me out. To this, really, all of Naughty by Nature, I can't even front. They don't stop, okay? But it's not about them shouting me out and me feeling some kind of aggrandizement. It's a humbling feeling. Because first of all, you didn't have to shout me out. And then second of all, you're a successful person giving praise to your teacher. This is the opposite of betraying your teacher for selfish gain. Shouting out your teacher as a successful person yourself. You ain't got to give the teacher nothing. But you as a successful student gives the teacher everything. Express the love of your God and see your God's finished work in everything and everyone. The most important training you can do for yourself in life is to practice living in the presence and personality of your God, the love that is a true friend to all in its presence. Such a practice leads to peace and strength, which is what you're looking at right now. Peace and strength. Practice thinking through the mind of God. Perceive in God. Openly perform the personality of your God everywhere and anywhere you are. And do not be ashamed or become discouraged by your own uniqueness. God is your nature. Perform your God in God. Perform your lowercase God and uppercase God. Direct yourself, teach yourself, govern yourself, heal yourself, guide yourself, and most of all, love yourself. God, the totality and unified consciousness of all existence. The all is one event. Ultimately, there is no other God, power, but God. Without name, without form, everywhere and nowhere, God is God. And as an attuned hip-hopper, God is the nature that sustains you. That's a direct definition of God. And you're not supposed to define God too, by the way. All definitions of God are inaccurate and incomplete. But here in this finite world of reading and knowledge and information passing, we give God a definition. But always remember, God has no definition. So what we perceive as God is, as we say, as an attuned hip-hopper, this is us, okay? As an attuned hip-hopper, capital G, lowercase o-d, is the nature that sustains you. Happy and secure is the one who acknowledges no other power no other power as their God except God. Acknowledge no other power as God except God. You know what I'm saying? And be real with this. You know, like even in rap careers, the reason why I'm so arrogant, you know, because I don't put nothing before God. So everything on the earth is stupid to me. Like you come at me trying to convince KRS he should do this and should do that. Nah, if you ain't with God, I ain't doing it. Or if the Afro comes to me and inspires me in a different direction, that's the direction we going in. Because I have no other power except God. God is the power. Not my career, what I can get out of it, or these companies and Oh, they ain't got no power. The real power is God. Happy and secure is the one who acknowledges no other power as their God except God. Value only God. See only God. Trust only God. Live and act in the image of your God. Meditate on this. This is this week's meditation. Just because I'm reading it right now, don't just take this and read. You should read this again tomorrow and again the next day. Get into this. See only God. Trust only God. Live and act in the image of your God. It is indeed a fact that you can never be hurt by the immaturity of others when you act selflessly on behalf of God. Hurt comes when you place your immediate interest over the presence of God. Remember, the key is to keep God first in your life. However, it is of extreme importance that you not force your interpretation of God upon others. God is real, but God is not real for everyone. As difficult as this may sound, try to understand that knowledge of God is a privilege. Do not force your privilege upon others or expect others to see what you see. For us, God is a bloodline. Whoa! That line right is another. This is another one. Okay, God as a bloodline. Everyone does not possess the nature of God. Very controversial there. Because Christianity tells you everyone has a soul and everyone can have God. That's colonist. That's colonial thinking. You can't have the God of those you kill. You can't have the God or the blessings of those you rob. You're going to rob God and say, I got God because I robbed God. I got God because I killed the priest. Us to talk, so we got God. It's a bloodline. Everyone does not possess the nature of God. This is a distinction with hip-hop spirituality. They may respect and revere the godly life, but they themselves are not yet prepared to commit to such a life themselves. Only those who are born for God shall commit to such a life. Nobody wants to hear that. And you know what? That was the original thing that was said to the colonists when the colonists showed up. When the colonists showed up at our shores, this is what we said to the colonists. You can't come in here. You're not ready. That's the worst thing to say to a person. You can't have something because you ain't ready. So what they do, blow up the whole temple, destroy everything, take our books, enslave our children because we would not allow them to desecrate our temple and our altar. That's what happened. That's what happened. Only those who are born for God shall commit to such a life. Just as some are born with the ability to cook, and others are born with the ability to build houses, and even others are born healers. Some of us are born God. Just as some of us are born with certain psychic abilities, others of us are born with the nature of God. Our existence balances human affairs. This is you. This is not a place, this is not to place anyone above anyone, nor is this an effort to claim some sort of authority. But in all truth, some people were born to love God in all God's forms. Are you one of those people? Are you one of those people? that too is a hardcore question. There's so many lines in here. That's why you gotta meditate. Are you one of those people? We are not above anyone. In fact, we serve and teach the world on God's behalf. Our aim is to relieve human suffering. That's the point. With this, this is why we argue with no one over the existence of God. If you do not know God, it is because God is not part of your nature. It doesn't mean that you are a bad or immoral person. It simply means that you were not born for that understanding and or purpose. And likewise, if you do not know God or simply doubt the existence of God, do not make the mistake of applying such doubt toward others who do claim to know God. Let us all accept each other as we all are. And let us hold each other accountable to the natures that we claim to possess. Those who truly know God express God. In fact, we have no choice in such expression. God is our nature. God is in our blood. And there is no condemnation of the atheist communities who are free to act according to their own godless nature. For it doesn't matter what you believe or don't believe. The real point is, how do your beliefs, how do your views and values make you a better person? Let me hit that again. It doesn't matter what you believe or don't believe. The real point is, how do your views and values make you a better person, more tolerant, more understanding of people? How do your views, values, and beliefs benefit those around you? That's it. That's it. How do your views, values, and beliefs benefit those around you, not just you? How do you benefit the dude standing next to you who ain't you? How are you making things better? However, if God is your nature and you truly feel the presence of God and you are naturally drawn toward the things of the Spirit, it is of extreme importance that you outwardly perform the nature of your God whenever and wherever you are invited to do so. Whenever and wherever you're invited to do so. Performing God is also about bringing spiritual reality into physical reality when needed. It makes no sense to claim a relationship with God and then have no real power on earth or no real power in the world. At some point, we must mature from being consumers of God to becoming producers of God. Temple members produce the effects of God as needed toward the relief of human suffering. We perform the nature of God openly for the benefit of all. Nothing is more empowering than a relationship with God. As John Bunyan has pointed out, quote, "He who runs from God in the morning will scarcely find him the rest of the day," end quote. Perform God. That's our perform God reading right there. I think this last part again is important. Nothing, you hear that word? Nothing is more empowering than a real relationship with God. That sums up pretty much this whole first chapter, and really the whole book, but this first reading, Perform God. Nothing is more empowering than a relationship with a divine being. I'm telling you, it's real. I don't know how many people can enjoy that or can experience that. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm only speaking from the life that I'm experiencing. I'm speaking from my vantage point. And from my vantage point, God is real. And there's an intelligence that knows of us, that has a plan for us, that has brought us 50 years and landed us here. There's a consciousness, there's a realm in which we hip hop are living in and manifesting. And everybody around us can see it except us. They're taking our culture and making their cultures better with our culture. And they've been doing this from the time they invaded our ancestors all the way up to right now. I mentioned it earlier. If you're sitting without a religion and everyone else has a religion, then you got robbed. There's no way around it. Especially if we all know where you came from. Like, I'm talking about African Americans. Let's just say us, African Americans. Okay? African Americans. And you know what? Let me throw Puerto Ricans in there too, specifically Puerto Ricans. Because because other Latino communities, they have churches, they have Catholicism. Latinos are big into Catholicism, the Pope, the Vatican, all of that. So, you know, other Latino nations, they have a religion that they can go to if they want to. Puerto Ricans ain't got nothing. Now, of course, Puerto Ricans, they're Catholicism. Puerto Ricans are Rastafarians. Puerto Ricans are Jews. Puerto Ricans are Christians. Puerto Ricans are Buddhists. Puerto Ricans are doing everything, okay? Just like African Americans. We're Buddhists, we're Hindu, we're this, we're that. But all of this, that, and this, where's the religion of the rich poor? My friend Pop Master Fables can't take it. He'd be like, what the hell is a rich port? He's Puerto Rican. And Puerto Rico is rich port. I think Rico is rich and Puerto is port. Port rich port. And Pop Master Fables has a scathing lecture where he says, I'm not Puerto Rican even. He relates more to Africa in that sense, and actually relates more to hip hop. But enslaved and colonized people don't have no religion. And why? Because it was the colonizer that took their religion. And took their birthright. So if you look at a colonial institution and they are practicing a religion, and you look at yourself and you don't have no religion, you don't have no spirituality, no religion, no philosophical thought, nothing. But they, the ones who invaded you and took your stuff. I'm saying, I don't know if Satanists invaded Africa and took Satanism out of Africa. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. But I do know that Christianity, Judaism, Islam are black religions originated in Africa. Now you know that the representatives of these religions are not the original people. They know it, we know it. You're not the original people of this thing. Most religion comes to foreign. It's foreign. It comes from another place, like Jesus of Nazareth. That's all the way over there in Africa. Okay? What does that got to do with me here in Flatbush, Brooklyn? What that got to do with me on Grand Concourse, 130 something, 136 in Millbrook? What? That's why religion don't work. That's why it don't work here. You telling me turn the other cheek? I can't. I won't have a face. These cops will blow my brains out. There's no way. This doesn't work here. Do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. I'm sorry, that don't work. The golden rule worked for your community. Hip hop has a platinum rule. Do unto others as they do unto themselves. Because we know, after walking the path now, we know that you can't treat other people like you want to treat yourself. That don't make sense. I'm vegetarian. I want you to be vegetarian, and you can't. You have to eat meat. Your body says, I need that B12 vitamin from this cow right now. I'm playing a vegetarian game, and I'm trying to force my vegetarian views on you because I think do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. I want to treat you the way I want to be treated. Well, we know in America that's impossible. So where's the spiritual thought then? What are we supposed to be doing then? We're supposed to be treating others the way they treat themselves. You treat yourself like that, then that's how I'll treat you. It ain't me. That's not how I act. But If that's how you treat you, and look at it, and look, do unto others as they would do unto themselves. So you driving down the street, you see a guy who you know is begging for money, and he's gonna go buy drugs with the money. That's a judgment. Hip hop would say, no, if you have it, you feel like giving, give him the money. Matter of fact, put him in your car and drive him to the crack house. Give him an extra 20 and say, get real high tonight. And you may say, Chris, this is crazy. What the hell are you saying out your mouth? Here's what I'm saying. Don't judge. You ain't the judge. God is the judge. Do unto others as they do to themselves. You have no judgment. If this is how you act, then let me treat you how you act. If this is what you say you are, let me treat you according to how you say you are. If you say your name is this, let me call you by your name and treat you according to your name. Let me respect who you are. Do unto others as they do unto themselves. Even good things. People appreciate this about themselves. They do good things about themselves. Why don't you join in and treat them according to the goodness in how they treat themselves? But you see somebody doing something good, you say, I want to do to you what I would do to me. That means you're ignoring the other person. You're ignoring the existence of the other person. If it's do unto others as you would do to yourself, that means it's all about you. I'm going to do me on you. Well, hip hop doesn't agree with that. We didn't live that. This is not Chris, this is not KRS saying this. This is observable truth. Look at it. Look at it. Hip hoppers naturally treat others how they come at you. Now, of course, from a moral point of view, every once in a while we say, well, damn, you know, I'm smoking a spliff right now. Yo, you want to talk? You want to get a piece of it? Let me treat you the way I treat myself. Like, I got this wine going right now. I got 2 glasses. I'm going to treat myself to a glass of wine right now. Do unto others as you would do unto yourself. I'm going to treat myself to a glass of wine. Let me hit you. Would you like a glass of wine? Because I'm going to do this for myself. I'm going to do this to myself and for myself. Would you like to do this to yourself and for you? I'm going to offer you that. That's do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. Treat other people the way you would want to be treated. That's noble. It just don't work in America. It don't work in the hood. It don't work in the ghetto. It only works in Nazareth 2,000 years ago with a community that knew each other. We don't have those privileges. So what's today's spirituality? Only hip hop can define it. Because if you look at every single religion, God comes in conflict or to the oppressed. That's it. And I question the conflict side too, because God don't always come in conflict, but God does show up in conflict. We have experienced that. But it's not the only way that God shows up in conflict. No, God shows up in a lot of different ways. But the two ways that have survived in all of the religions is God shows up in conflict and God shows up to the oppressed. Those who are downtrodden by people who don't love God, who don't care about other people, who are willing to cut down trees and kill birds and dogs and cats and cows and fish. You willing to do that? Not you trapped in a society that offers you that. No, you're willing yourself. If you had a choice between allowing a tree to grow or cutting it down, you choose to cut it down. That's not godly. Now, if you have to cut the tree down because some racist got a gun to your head, some terrorist got your child, that's different. But if you as a character can walk into the forest and start killing, chopping down trees, shooting birds, how can you shoot a bird? Excuse me. Think about it. How can you actually shoot a bird? I want you to think about that. You know what a deer is? You ever seen a deer? You see how peaceful deers are? How elegant, graceful, how deers, you see how they jump over stuff? It's almost like they're flying. Beautiful creatures. And I mean beautiful by human standards. Here comes a soulless individual with a tool that projects something out to go into the head of this being. Kill the being. And for what? To cut his head off and put it on a wall and say, you have a trophy? You're a devil. That's what you are. And I'm here to make you know that. Now, you don't have to be the devil forever, but right then and there, you the devil. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. You see a bird flying, beautiful. This is a work of genius. How a being can fly in the air. God made this. Nature made this. You pull out the tool. Bird flying. You shoot the bird out the sky. And for what? Target practice? This is what hip hop is going to speak against. This is what hip hop is not going to tolerate. If you're spiritual, this is where we draw the line. We are pro-life. Not just pro-life with an abortion, but pro-life when that child grows up and becomes 21. Why are you not pro-life there? Cop could shoot us, right? Nobody pro-life when it comes to slavery for the African. The African's not life, right? Not alive. The Irish were not alive, right? Young English women and children roped up into slavery. They were not life. If you have no respect for life, it shows. Don't have to be me talking it. Don't have to be me talking it. Like I told you, the abortion thing is controversial. We know that. And you don't have to agree with my views at all. I'm just pointing out history. I'm pointing out what happened and making assumptions on what happened. Europe and Rome was always against killing kids. Always. They said all the documentations, all the dictions, everything. Rome, always dissing Africans for killing their kids. They call us baby killers. That's the truth there. But you got to understand the culture that's killing these babies. And you got to understand, I didn't say this other part, I'll put this other piece on the end of it. So when your mother has you and nurtures you and not kill you, what respect you must have for your mother and your father if he's present. But your mother in particular, the one you was formed in and came out of, she chose not to kill you. And it was her right to. According to ancient law, ancient African law, it's her right. Anything you create, you can destroy. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else to say. And this is how nature acts. Nature creates humans and kills them. Now, if you're a colonist outside of nature, this all sounds crazy. So you fight for your version of what is sanity. But it don't make it right. It don't make it wrong. It's just your version of reality. And this is what it is. So I end you with that. That we have to perform God. We have to perform God. We don't have a choice. Those of us that have made a commitment to the spiritual life. It's not just for you. The spiritual life. It's not just for you. We have to be the example of what righteousness looks like in the world, or there will be no righteousness in the world. And you may think of yourself as insignificant. No, you're not. You're very significant. You'd be surprised the little acts, the little godly acts you do around work, around school, around family, at the supermarket, anywhere you're at, in the club. Little acts of godliness moves the society forward, moves our culture forward, helps the United States of America. You know, if you criticize something, you got to be willing to help. I criticize in a positive way, positive critique of the United States of America. I'm a loving critic of the United States. I'm never going to diss the United States or diss America. I live here. So that's not what we're doing. But we can be critical with an eye toward making it better. Better. That's going to conclude my 3 hours. That's going to conclude our read until next week. We are the Temple of Hip Hop. You can always catch us at 55 Ludlow Street, Newark, New Jersey. We call it Brick City. It's hip hop city, really. It's really hip-hopia. There it is a hip hop city already. Remember, our vision is already manifested. We are working and living in a hip hop city right now. It's called Newark, New Jersey. It's called Brick City. And out of Brick City, all types of hip hoppers, legendary hip hoppers, come up out of Brick City. God has placed us here in Brick City, what we call hip-hopia, another name, has placed us here with a temple where the chief of police raps, where the mayor raps and breaks, and the chief of staff of the mayor is a DJ, where sanitation is the graffiti writers. That's the city I'm living in right now. It's called Newark, New Jersey. This whole thing is hip hop. This whole thing is hip hop. And we praise Mayor Ross J. Baraka for being hip hop. And how is he hip hop? Not because he blessed us with this with a temple. Not because of that. That's the effects. The real blessing is that he was hip hop. That's the blessing. He was hip hop. And the mayor announced it. He said, first he said, I am hip hop. And so now when the teacher of hip hop comes and says, this is the plan for hip hop, he just he puts himself in the work. This is why this man will be respected forever in our culture. He put himself in the work and said, we're going to work on this. Let's work this. And now we sitting with a 26,000 square foot building worth $11 million. God ain't real? I don't know. Miracles don't happen? I don't know. But if your teacher, the one who is teaching you from this gospel, if you see on his own life what is happening, that is the teaching. This reading is a confirmation, substantiation, memory, affirmation. That's what the reading is. But why read something that's not happening in your real life? That's not the spirituality we're practicing. Our spirituality has to show up in real life. It has to be logical. And some people don't agree with that. But we say our spirituality has to be logical. Health, love, awareness, wealth. That's what we teach. We have our foot on sickness, hatred, ignorance, and poverty. Today is a fasting day too, by the way. So we're hitting our lentil soup. I made a nice pot over here. After this, I'm gonna go grab another bowl. Thank you for listening. This is the Temple of Hip Hop. Maybe someone has that video ready for us now. We'll go out with that. Peace, y'all, till next week.
From the sacred womb of the goddess, hip-hop is the only coming God knowledge. The return of the naked summon God's knowledge. Resurrected in the wake of nothing God honored. It is I, it is you, be it God's honest. The truth of what I'm telling you's beyond college. And any book they done took, get divine wallets. Overlooked cause of hook, they like your son's wildin'. I put these crooks back on shook, this is the mind styling. Reconnected by the essence of the soul force. Brought it back, still intact, straight from the soul source. Know where we at, still on track, riding soul's course. Stick to the facts, to what is black, knocking soul's door. This is the highest self reflected on the teacher's teachers. For whosoever finds himself within this vocal region, and can detect and accept they hear God speaking. Not the God of gods, but God's solar beacon. From the Alpha to Omega, get the rising of it. Creed of Creator, all they tried to say it never wasn't. Universe and nature, the seed of the life we come in. All that we are made of hip-hop, the realest one it. Hit you with the feeling so you can overstand. We are at the ceiling of what you think, woman and man. So many abilities than just the sleight of hand. Gotta read between the lives of Christ to
Hip-hop
understand.
forever, boom, back. Oh shit, nigga, boom, forever. Hip-hop forever, boom, back. Oh shit, nigga, boom, forever.
This is hip-hop forever. Peace to the gods and the goddesses. Let's go rock this forever. Stop this shit never. I'll drop shit forever. Rearrange the game. I got this together. Let down my next round. This is a set sound. The best down, nigga, if you ready to rep now. The rest out, niggas gon' be ready to step down. Select now, nigga, get upset if you left out the usual. That's what niggas trying to get you used to. Fuck if you used to, cause fake can't confuse you. Enticed with riches, it just mentally used you. Misjudge of character, you gotta know who's who. Stagnant up this bitch, cause this shit was always coming. Niggas felt it in their stomach, they knew they didn't want it. Try refusing everyone it, cause the time was almost done it. They couldn't foresee the sun in these times, but they had none of what they need, yes indeed. From the elders to the seeds, cause these niggas need to know it's deceiving to just believe. MCs who came to teach, you better heed what you receive. Best believe we planting seeds that's gon' grow through all degrees. Either greatest or the fakest, think life is what you make it. Be you sleep or reawaken, are you giving it all you taking? Are you still or you still chasing? Which side are you adjacent? What creations you create and remake it within the matrix?
Hip-hop forever, boom, back. Oh shit, nigga, boom, forever. Hip-hop forever, boom, back. Oh shit, nigga, boom, forever.
Hip-hop forever, I was never a record seller. I'm in that other place where colonial heads be getting severed. Marcus, Malcolm, Martin, and Mecca, cock back the lever. I'm with the American Indian movement, my aim's better. Underground like a cellar, wise like Helen Keller. The good fella, we won't be here forever like Lolly Bella. I can't be beat, so I spit out the Pella. Most rappers will be forgotten like that car they used to call Jetta. Whatever, let's not take it back too far to Jetta. That's the real car, like the sun in the sky, that's a real star. So what's really real? A God is what you really are. Those that deny this fact of life, they don't get really far. You are a divine human being. You need to start seeing that human is what you're being, but it's not your being. Human, that's a word, it's a choice of being. Being, that's divine. Human is a choice, the being is seeing. Whatever being is seen, believing, or perceiving, that's a manifestation for a reason in due season. It's called the gift of Ptah, where you actually see you're speaking. Your environment begins to reflect the words you are repeating. Speak it in the morning, you see it in the evening. Speak it on Monday or Tuesday, you see it by the weekend. This is what I'm teaching on the mic now. Hip-hop is forever, we clever, we proving that fact right now.
Hip hop forever, boom, bap. Oh shit, nigga, boom forever. Hip hop forever, boom, bap. Oh shit, nigga, boom forever. Yeah.